So today we'll be taking a look at Peyton Royce's reveal that explains the big mistake the Iconics did that ruined what they had going on. We'll also take a look at what fans are speculating will be the face-to-face date for Roman Reigns and The Rock. Let's start things off with Cassie Lee, Peyton Royce's reveal about where the Iconics went wrong at. Everyone knows the story of Cassie and Jessica, of course formerly known as Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. They were friends since they were teenagers, came up together in the wrestling scene, even joined WWE right around the same time as well. Peyton Royce and Billie Kay were two NXT superstars that would appear every here and there. But once they were paired together on screen, that's when these two characters just took off and rose in popularity. The Iconics were known back then in NXT as the Iconic Duo. Their colorful and over-the-top personalities were always on full display, even in NXT. But the NXT version of the Iconics could not only talk trash and tell jokes, but they were also seen as an actual credible threat inside the ring as well. So they had that double layer to themselves of being these funny and cocky heels, but they also looked extremely dominant and intimidating in the ring. That of course all changed when they were called up to the main roster in April of 2018. When you get called up from NXT to the main roster, it's supposed to be an upgrade, supposed to be that sorta next level up for these younger talents. But the problem is that most of the time, it's actually the opposite. Getting called up to the main roster can really set your character back, and the main roster will really water you down to the point where someone doesn't even seem like their NXT selves at all. Of course, you had this extremely rare case where someone such as Roman Reigns or Alexa Bliss has more success on the main roster than they had in NXT. But for the majority of the time, superstars come to the main roster with so much momentum and hype from their time in NXT, only to get lost in the shuffle in a matter of months. Keith Lee seems to be the latest victim of that sort of situation. The man was a dual champion for NXT last summer, gets called up to the main roster, defeats Randy Orton right away. Everyone's thinking he's about to take off, and then he's gone. So same sort of thing for the Iconics. Their SmackDown main roster debut was a big moment that a lot of their NXT fans were waiting for, and it was a great debut. Peyton and Billie came out, trash-talked Charlotte Flair in their unique and funny way, and then topped it all off by lying out Charlotte Flair in the ring. So talk about making a statement during your debut. That was quite the textbook perfect debut that you could really ask for. And during that debut, they were still their NXT selves by being both funny but dominant at the same time. But it was how funny they were that ended up being the big mistake and what led to their downfall. Cassie Lee, who was known in WWE as Peyton Royce, was recently a guest on Oral Sessions and explained the situation. She had this to say. So in NXT, I feel like we were stronger maybe. We were booked more like threats in NXT. When we transitioned to the main roster, Vince thought we were so funny on the microphone in the first week. So it became more about us being funny and less threats. For me, that was a little bit for me to realize we weren't threats. We are these fun, over-the-top personalities, which I loved, but I miss being perceived as someone who could win a match or win a championship. But last year when we came back after the pandemic, I absolutely loved from when we came back to splitting us up, because I feel like it was really a mesh of both of those things. We were still ourselves on the microphone, but when we got in the ring, it was time for business. So it sounds like Vince McMahon thought they were so funny that they slowly transitioned them into being these comedic characters that ran their mouths, but can never really be seen as a threat. But they did have one huge highlight, and that was of course winning the tag team titles at WrestleMania 35 and becoming the second ever set of champions in WWE history. The Iconics would get lost in the shuffle several months later, but would later return to the Performance Center era. Cassie said that she liked the 2020 run because she felt like they got more serious again. Only issue, like we all know, was that the Iconics went through one of the most weirdest breakups that happened out of nowhere and led to absolutely nothing at all. So it was interesting to hear about how their transition to the main roster was and everything else that happened there behind the scenes. So let's get into what many fans are speculating about for when it comes to The Rock and Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns versus The Rock is probably the biggest dream matchup right now in WWE. It's a matchup that is highly talked about. Even Roman and The Rock have been asked about it several times. Even though the match itself is not confirmed, there's just this feeling and rumor that it's going to happen eventually. It was rumored for WrestleMania 37 at first, but obviously scheduling didn't work out. Then we started hearing WrestleMania 38. Roman Reigns himself even mentioned WrestleMania 39 as the possible date and location. So nothing but a whole mix of different rumors. The match itself still remains in question, but we may be getting a better idea of when to expect their first face-to-face interaction. It's not Roman and Rock's first interaction ever on screen. Of course, everyone remembers when The Rock assisted Roman Reigns in winning the Royal Rumble a few years back. It seemed like WWE was really trying to use The Rock's endorsement of Roman Reigns to get fans to buy into Roman, but it wasn't working at the time. The crowd was just there booing The Rock and Roman Reigns as they stood together in the ring. Fast forward all these years later, and now fans can't wait for them to get together in the ring again. It's crazy how things change. But when is the rumored date for this face-to-face? Well, this year's Survivor Series is looking like a realistic possibility. This year's Survivor Series is rumored to take place at Brooklyn's Barclays Center. The Rock is rumored to make an appearance at the event because it is the 25th anniversary of The Rock's debut. So maybe have an appearance by him, a whole celebration of his career, that sort of thing for the show. Similar to what they did for The Undertaker last year with all of his friends and everyone else being there. Only difference here is that the celebration and party for The Rock would be crashed by Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns obviously loves his family, so maybe he has no issue with The Rock's celebration at first. But let The Rock say a joke or two and then they exchange some words, and then all of that friendliness can be gone in seconds. You know how Roman is. Maybe he brings up how The Rock is washed up, how he can't go on anymore, and how The Rock is just wasting airtime that should be going to him. Those sort of things definitely seem like lines that Roman Reigns would say. Then you go from a celebration of The Rock's 25th anniversary to all of a sudden this heated face-to-face confrontation between The Rock and Roman Reigns. Then that's your story right there. That would lead to their WrestleMania main event matchup. The Rock has been called out and is the last big hope to dethrone Roman Reigns. While Roman Reigns has this opportunity to elevate his legend even more by knocking The Rock off at WrestleMania. It really doesn't have to be that complex. Something as simple as that would still get fans heavily invested, and then you just take it from there. Obviously, The Rock has no business winning this matchup, but the story and the build-up would be the fun part here for this feud. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.